was rather elaborate introduction. And do we do simultaneously, Neenaji? Okay. Okay. So thank you everyone. Special thanks goes to Gopu and Shyamji for inviting us here.
Thank you. I love being in Chennai, going through the streets. So thank you for having us, and thank you to the organizers. Thank you for having us and giving us this opportunity.
So let me tell you a little about how this course, we designed this course. In fact, RVS Maniji, if he's around, he, Gopu and Shyamji, they came to my office, and then we were talking about how current students are disposed towards the India and Indian narrative. And you know, all of us were sharing our experiences, and these experiences were so common, and the commonality was that Indian students, they really don't know about India or our traditions. And if you try to delve deep into this whole, I would say, paradigm of why this is happening, see, if we talk about Indology, in fact, Neena ji would like to say something on this, and then we can continue.
What you said is a fact. It is very difficult to find young people who have a lot of interest in ancient Hindu culture, or for that matter, Hindu culture. Most of them are being misled, thinking that the Western culture is something that they should follow, and that is something that they should mimic. And if you talk to them, they do not know much. So whatever she said is absolutely fine.
So what we had planned to do about this is, I'll quickly talk about this course and what's the relevance of this course, and then we will, Neena ji will tell about her book, and then there'll be a discussion on these two topics. So as I was saying about this course, see, when we study, what is study of India called? Study of India is called Indology. And who is considered father of Indology? William Jones. And then the question is, who is William Jones? In fact, he was a judge at Supreme Court of Calcutta that time. This is in 1780s we are talking about. And William Jones, in, I think it was, 1784, he started a society which was called Asiatic Society, and he had sent invitation in a form of circular that all the Britishers should try and learn about India. And 30 Britishers joined, and that was him becoming the father of Indology. In fact, I was very surprised when I had gone to Oxford and I had found this panel there. Now this panel, it shows William Jones on a desk and our Pandits sitting at his feet, and he is dictating and these priests are scribbling. And let's now also talk about what are the Indology centers, famous Indology center. Again, Vienna, Heidelberg, Halle, Mainz, French Institute of Pondicherry, Tübingen, Zurich, Oxford. What does this indicate? Obviously that we have given our locus of control to outsiders. And then what happens? We have, before I talk about what happens, let me quickly say a little bit about postmodernism. Now, postmodernist studies, and if we talk about Indology, Windy Doniger, Sheldon Pollock, these are great proponents of postmodernist studies. Now, postmodernist studies, what are they doing? They are, before that, postmodernism, there's a concept of death of the author. Now, death of the author holds that an author's intention and background, including their politics and religion, should hold no special weight in determining how to interpret their work. And here comes a barrage of Western thinkers trying to interpret us from their framework. I'll give you very small examples, 2, 3 of them. Carl Jung, who was disciple of Sigmund Freud, he did a lot of studies on Kundalini, Chakra, Tantra. But what happens here? When he studies Chakra, he recognizes 5 chakras and does not recognize Yagna Chakra and the last chakra. Why? If we delve deeper into it, this is Advait. This whole system belongs to Advait, where there is Paramatma and Atma are one. This is in total opposition of Christian framework of understanding things. There it is Father and Son and the Holy Spirit. So if they agree that Paramatma and Atma are one, they cannot understand this. So as a result, what happens? He says the description of other 2 chakras are because of hallucination or whatever. So I will consider these 5 chakras. Now what have you done? You have taken a framework according to your preferences and removed the sacred out of it. Same thing Wendy Doniger does. What does she do? She has analyzed the whole Ramayana on the lenses of psychoanalysis. And as a result, where we see Tyag and Vatsalya of Sita, she sees in her human rights and in her psychoanalysis, she sees the feminist thing in this. I'll add one more example here, which I find very disturbing. When we read Ramakrishna Paramhans and Vivekananda Samvad, in one instance, Ramakrishna Paramhans tells Vivekananda, come and sit in my lap, possibly in my aura or whatever. Now these people are seeing homosexual intentions in that. So if you see the whole gambit, they have absolutely decontextualized it. And what is happening now? Anybody who wants to study about India reads these texts, and then the person becomes very frustrated and confused about our own thing. And that is why we thought that we are going to have this course where students are able to see the Indian identity through the lenses of Swarajya, Swabhasha, Swadeshi and Swadharma. Now 2 minutes I'll take to just explain why we chose these 4 concepts. When we talk about Swarajya, or let's come to Swadeshi first. When we talk about Swadeshi, see, if right now, if you go through Google, which is the most common form of looking for information, Swadeshi, you will only find Swadeshi movement. You will not find anything about what is the ethos behind Swadeshi. What had happened? See, every country will succeed if they follow their own model. But in India, what we did? When we got independence, we followed Soviets model. And when our rate of growth is like 2.5, 3%, we called it shamelessly, I will use this word with full responsibility, shamelessly, we called it Hindu rate of growth. Whereas in 1500s, we had 27% contribution to the world GDP. Still, this was called Hindu rate of growth, this absolutely low rate of growth. Then what happened? 91, according to Washington's consensus, we brought in LPG, liberalization, privatization, and globalization. In fact, we have our own model of Deen Dayal Upadhyay, Ekatma Manavvad, or integral humanism, which basically doesn't deconstruct like the Western lenses. It says that from individual, you can go to society well-being, from society well-being, you can go to Rashtra well-being, your environment, and then to divinity. Such a seamless, beautiful construct. Here also, This has been deconstructed. Now they have work-life balance, which doesn't take into consideration your national and your sustainability and your divinity. You have humanistic management. Again, they have removed divine aspect or divine perspective out of this. So now if we talk a little about Swaraj, when Tilak gave the concept of Swaraj, it was such a beautiful concept. It did not conflict individual and the society. In fact, I would like to read from this, if I can find. Yeah. Tilak's Swaraj was based on Vedanta. He said, since there is no duality between the individual and the universal soul, thus Swaraj joins personal purpose of life with the national purpose. This is so different from social contract theory. So similarly, I will not take much of the time. Similarly, we can see that we have to contextualize the way we see our own country. We cannot see our own country from the lenses of others. Now here, we got a very overwhelming response for our course. We have 643 people, students who have registered for this course. We are doing this online, and this course is also going to IIT Jammu. They have agreed to have this course, which is a very, very big thing for us. And we also are trying to have this course in various universities and institutes. So this is about the course on Indian identity. Over to you, Neena ji.
Thank you. That's really lovely to know that you have such a wonderful course going on, which will help educate the coming generations of our own culture. And it's actually quite bad to say that we need to educate our own people of our own culture. I mean, it's quite shameful, but I'm so glad that this move has been taken. So many congratulations to you. Before I begin, I want to ask the audience, how many of you here celebrate Diwali? Okay, so we all know the story of Diwali, that Ramji and Sitaji come to Ayodhya, and when they come to Ayodhya, the whole of Ayodhya is lit with diyas, correct? Pataka, diya, yes?
Here it is Krishna.
Okay. Okay. Now, if I will ask you, but is this story overall, does everybody know this story or not? Yes, yes? Naraka Chaturthi. So, if I ask anybody, when Ram and Sita came to Ayodhya and everybody lit up their homes, can somebody tell me what were the homes of those people like? Where were the diyas lit? And when Ram and Sita came to Ayodhya, what were the roads that they came on? And when they came on those roads, can you tell me how was Ramji's palace? Can you tell me how was Dashrath and Kaikeyi's palace? Can you tell me what are the kinds of animals that were in Ayodhya? Can you tell me what are the kinds of animals that Sitaji and Ramji had in their palace? Were they only animals or were they birds also? And can somebody tell me who established Ayodhya? And if we talk of Ayodhya, we always come to Ram and Dashrath. Can somebody tell me how far and wide was Dashrathji's empire? And was Ayodhya a district, a city, a town? What was it? Any answers? So you see this silence is the reason I wrote my book, Amazing Ayodhya. See, all the questions I just asked you, is the answers to this, every Hindu, or for that matter, every Indian should know. Because Ayodhya is one of the most prized district, city, whatever you want to call it, of our country. It has been of great importance. It's actually a theme, and it has been of great importance since the time it came into inception. Until today, it is still one of the holiest cities of Hindus. Yet, if you ask our own people, can you describe Ayodhya to me? Can you tell me what was the layout of Ayodhya? Was it circular, rectangular, hexagonal? Can you tell me about how the army was? Can you tell me was there a fort? What was there? So in my search for all these answers, in my search for my own culture, and in my search and my own need, I wrote this book wherein I gave people an insight on how people lived in ancient times. And it is something to be very proud of. So for example, I'll answer some of the questions that I just asked you. All the questions, by the way, I asked you, the answers to these questions are given in my book, Amazing Ayodhya. This is available on Amazon, and it's available on most leading bookstores. So I asked you a question, can somebody tell me the shape of Ayodhya? So Ayodhya is made according to Vastu. Now I don't know about Chennai, but in Delhi still, houses are made according to Vastu. And these houses are called Vastu compliant houses. And in the market, they have a higher price than those that are not Vastu compliant. So all of Ayodhya was made according to Vastu. It had a rectangular shape. In the Valmiki Ramayana it says 3 by 12 yojan. So that means it was 3 yojan in breadth and 12 yojan in length. That made it rectangular. And it had the Saryu river flowing around it and making a moat around it. They had a beautiful moat as well. Now Ayodhya is propagated as a spiritual city. But it is not a spiritual city. It is not a city where it is so spiritual that nobody can fight Ayodhya. The word Ayodhya means that which you cannot fight, but not with spirituality, but with military intelligence and military might. This is something that nobody tells you, and this is something that Valmiki says in the Ramayana, that true to its name. And why does he say true to its name? He describes the whole of Ayodhya as a military city with a stronghold. It has animals. It has this very unique weapon called Shatagni. Has anybody heard of the Shatagni? Yeah. So the Shatagni is one of the most unique ancient weapons. It's like a missile. And the Shatagni was on the ramparts of the stronghold. Now the ramparts are that area wherein, the broad area wherein the army can walk, and from there they can shoot. This is an area around the fort. Any fort that you will see, they have a rampart. So and then there is a moat outside of Ayodhya which the animals cannot cross. And then beyond the moat, he's built a jungle for 2 yojan. So these are some things that none of us knew about Ayodhya. And I thought that writing this book, I will be able to tell people what they should have already known. Most of us have read the Valmiki Ramayana. Most of us know about Ramcharitmanas and the Ramayans. And we all know the story, but we do not know the glory of Ayodhya. Another interesting thing I'm going to tell you. Inside Ayodhya, again it was based on Vastu. It was very Vastu compliant. The streets of Ayodhya were Vastu compliant. The design of the streets was in such a manner that in the center was a Garbhagriha that you could not cross. And there were main streets, the Rajviti, which went from north to south, and then east to west, and then various streets that followed in a grid pattern. Can somebody tell me in today's day which cities follow grid pattern layouts? Anybody?
There are agraharas in this part of the world where people have been living for years, where they have a pattern of houses.
they have a pattern.
Street itself.
So today the grid pattern is copied maximum in the West. So New York has a grid pattern layout. Then we have Abu Dhabi which has a grid pattern layout. And then a Westerner who designed Chandigarh gave it a grid pattern layout. So the grid pattern layout which the Hindus were practicing and putting it in use in ancient times, they have forgotten it today. And I'm saying that because I come from the north, and in the north there are not many cities that are designed in a very, very convenient and easy to follow grid pattern. So there are so many of these kind of gems that I have researched and put it in my book, and all the questions that I asked, all the answers are also available in the book. So, if anybody has any questions, I'm very happy to answer. If you're very curious about the architecture of Ramayan, if you're very curious, I'll be very happy to answer your questions. And I'll also request Vidita ji to, please.
I have a question. You mentioned that Ayodhya was kind of a military city.
Yes.
Now, military cities usually are created when you find that there would be some attacks.
Yes.
So today we know who can attack us. But 10,000 years ago, who was attacking Ayodhya?
So I'll tell you who was attacking Ayodhya, the Asuras.
And what do you mean by Asurs?
No. See, one of the basic things in psychology is that the have-nots, those who feel they don't have it, or those who have the jealous type of people, the tamasic people, the presence of somebody sattvic or rajasic, the presence of something powerful, just by their presence will shape the presence of the person who doesn't like you, or who's jealous of you, or who has an issue with you. So they feel that they will attack you, and in doing so, they will become more powerful. So the attack on what existed and whatever is there, whatever is important, has been going on since eons. I mean, if we take, we take any example throughout history, and we always find that which is good has always been attacked. In the time of Dashrath and in those past eras, there are talks of Devasur youth. There is Devasur youth, as well as there are youths with other countries, other states or countries, not in the empire itself. So, for example, every 10 years, Raja Dashrath used to do an Ashwamedh Yajna. And Ashwamedh Yajna meant that you leave your white horse and it goes to whichever territory, and the one who stops the horse then has to fight. So that means that there were fights there. It is not that there weren't. Then again, I'll take your attention to the fact that how did Kaikeyi get the 2 booms? And based on those 2 booms, Ramji had to go to Vanvas, go for Vanvas. So she had helped Dashrath in the Devasur Yudh, where she saved his life. So wars have been going on, and because wars were going on, because they wanted to construct a city that nobody could destroy, nobody could fight and take over. Therefore, they called it Ayodhya. जिससे युद्ध नहीं किया जा सकता है, that which you cannot fight, न युद्ध, then becomes अयुद्ध or Ayodhya. Unconquerable, unassailable.
I just wanted to add the perspective. See, you had asked a question. The answer that is in Sundarakand, Hanumanji says, Raja Sattu Ravana, Raja Sarvasya Logasya Devo Vaishravano Jeta. So, the Raja of Ayodhya is not only the king, the ownership of the kingdom is not limited to the earth alone. The entire earth is ruled by Ayodhya, but it also extends up to the heavens.
Yes.
And they had a chariot, that the chariot of Suryavamsh, the Vamshta, the Raghuvamshta. Raghuvamsh का जो chariot था वो it can fly up to the heaven. The only chariot which can fly up to the heaven. Whenever they want, they can take the. And there was no enemy to Dasharath, no enemy in the earth. But in heaven, yes, Asuras were never interested in Ayodhya. Asuras were always fighting with the Devas. And Dasharatha used to, not only Dasharatha, the entire dynasty of Raghuvamsh has always helped the Devas with the good.
Okay, so I'm going to read out the passage for you, wherein Kaikeyi tells Dasharath about the war. So she says, and this is written.
That is Devasur youth.
Yeah.
Not the youth in the yet. It is because Ayodhya is unconquerable. Somebody who has got the guru of Vasisht, who can with this Brahmadan stop all the astras of the mighty Vishwamitra. No army can even think about fighting any kings of Ayodhya. It was all the wars in that period only refers to Devasur youth.
Sir.
Okay. So there is another mention of the various wars that were fought. If you don't want me to read out the Devasur Ayodhya, then I shall tell you about another shlok wherein.
Can I request something? If the discussion is long, can we do it once the session is over? Because you all are... Yes, sir.
I have a very simple question.
Ji.
The question is about, so you mentioned about Ashwamedha Yaga. So what was the necessity to build a military city if in all these Ashwamedha Yagas, Dasharatha has become a successful emperor?
No, automatically in Ashwamedh Yajnas a king doesn't become.
Did they reconstruct that, the city of Ayodhya every 10 years? Because you mentioned about
No.
every 10 years he did the Ashwamedha Yaga.
So Ashwamedh Yajna cannot be carried on by regular kings. Ashwamedh Yajna is carried on by Maharajas only. So a Maharaja by definition is a king who has around 1,000, a Maharaja has 1,000 kings under him. In today's age, you can say a Maharaja has 1,000 zamindars under him. A minimum of 1,000 zamindars, or a minimum, they're called Samant Rajas, what we call zamindars today. So 1,000 Rajas then becomes, somebody to whom 1,000 Rajas give their kar to or their tax to, then that becomes a Maharaj. And in those areas and even further, the king would then lead his white horse, and it was specifically a very white horse. That white horse could traverse as much as it could, and if anybody stopped that white horse, there was always a small portion of the army that was traveling with that white horse. So first they would fight with that army, and then if that army lost, then the bigger armies were called. And we know this because when Lava and Kush, in the story of Lava and Kush stopped the Ashwamedh horse of Bhagwan Ram himself. Correct? So that's how we do it. And so Maharaja Dasharath also used to perform Ashwamedh Yajna. Raja Ram used to perform Ashwamedh Yajna. In fact, you said that there were no, there were no people, there were no wars. But then can you tell me who are the people who took, before, in the forefathers, who was thrown out of Ayodhya from the forefathers of Dasharath?
That the king was, I think it is Maldada's father, but he was thrown out on the sharp of Vasisht, not on anybody else.
Okay.
Vasishtha gave a sharp that you should become a...
So in the Valmiki Ramayana, there are 3 countries mentioned, or 3 races of people that are mentioned, who threw out an ancestor of Dasharath from Ayodhya itself. The ancestor who was thrown out, his name is Asit, Maharaj Asit. So Maharaj Asit, when he was chased away from Ayodhya itself, had to go and live in the Himalayas with his 2 wives. Now at the time, both the wives, I think, were pregnant, and the co-wife, the other wife, she poisons the Dharmapatni, who's the first wife. The first wife is always the Dharmapatni, whose children will be the heir to the throne. So because she poisons it, and then this lady goes to Maharshi Shyavala. So she says, I have been poisoned, and poison in Sanskrit is called gar. And so the Maharshi says, do not worry, you will have a great son, and that son will become a great king. And that son becomes a great king. And when he was born with poison along with it. Can anybody tell me the name? Yes, correct. Sagar, who is born with poison. So his name is Sagar. And based on Sagar, the 60,000 sons of Sagar, when they were looking for their Ashwamedh horse, they dug up the ocean, because of which the ocean is called Sagar. So if we read the genealogy as well, we will know again and again that Ayodhya was attacked. In fact, it was attacked to such an extent that the king of Ayodhya had to go and reside in the Himalayas, and it was Sagar who won Ayodhya back again. So again and again there were repeated attacks on Ayodhya, and they had to maintain that military might. Otherwise, if there were no attacks, what was the point of having an Ashwamedh?
No, Vasishtha never left Ayodhya. It's proved in Valmiki. Vasishtha was Kulguru from the beginning of the dynasty, right from Surya, right from Manu. He was the Kulguru. He never left 1 inch away from Ayodhya.
Sure. So I suggest you read the Valmiki Ramayana, and in Valmiki Ramayana read the portion when Bhagwan Vashishri, by the way, is saying these stories. And to whom is he saying the story? He's saying this story to the priest of Maharaja Janak at the time of talks of marriage. So whenever there is a marriage in a traditional Hindu family, we talk of the gotra, we talk of the history, we talk who's the father, who's the uncle. So when Maharaja Dasharath goes to Janakpur for the marriage of Ram and Sita, then Vashisht himself gives a whole introduction and genealogy. And in that introduction, it is Vashisht who says these were the kings, and this was Maharaj Asit, and Maharaj Asit was thrown out. So there were wars, and then Sagar came, there were Ashwamedh Yajnas, there were attacks, there were battles, and sometimes the people of Ayodhya won, and sometimes the people of Ayodhya lost. This should be in the portion where we are talking of the Vivah. So when they have just arrived.
Okay. So here, I'll come back to the present era. Awaaz aa rahi hai? Yeah. Okay. So, I teach management students, and once I asked them, I try to bring in references from Mahabharata and Ramayana. So once I asked them very simple question about Gita, who told Gita to whom? And you'll be surprised. I teach at Delhi. You'll be surprised, almost 50% of the class was not able to tell exactly when Gita was told by whom to whom. So coming back to these courses, one thing which I wanted to tell was, we have to see this as clash of civilizations. A Brahminical religion and our Sanatan Dharma. There is one, all of us who have studied political science would have studied Manusmriti in great detail. There was a lady, Catherine Mayo. She came to India and she wanted to write a book or treatise on Indian religion. And then she was very surprised because we had Gnostic tradition in which we had Jain, Buddha and Charvak, and then we have Astic tradition where we have Vedanta, Sankhya, Mimamsa and the rest four. So what she did, she wanted to do in today's jargon we'll say she wanted to do a shoddy work, she got hold of Manusmriti and she translated it and called it Mother India, whatever her translation was. That book was grabbed by the Western thinkers, Western philosophers, and then there were references and cross references of the same thing, and these kind of thoughts were propagated. Now I'll tell you one thing from before I give it to Neena ji. I'll share one thing. So I wanted to do some postdoc research, and I wanted to do in social sciences. And I had applied through Erasmus Mundus scholarship, I had applied to Oxford. When I had gone to Oxford, I said I want to do studies, and Oxford incidentally has a very rich Indology center. They said, you will get funding, you will get grants, if you want to do research in, and you'll be surprised what topics or themes were suggested to me. Sati, which is no longer relevant, our caste system, our mistreatment to Dalit. These were the whole list, and not only list, they also had NGOs, list of NGOs from India who would help me in doing this research. So as obvious, I did not, I did it in some other thing. I did it from University of London, not from Oxford University, and I did it in the subject which I wanted. What I'm trying to say here is, and as an academician, I wanted to share this, that there is, and I'm very happy Neena ji has done such good work, and it is directly from Itihas as it happened. We have dearth of literature on our narrative, and that is why you don't have young researchers willing to work, because when they want to work, there is no material available. So, for example, and also in academic circle, since I've been in teaching for so long, in academic circles, if you are right-leaning, now it is easier to get jobs. Previously, it was very difficult to get jobs. I know people who have spent all their life being a visiting or an ad hoc professor because they did not get job because they were right-leaning. So I have my research scholar who is doing work on integral humanism and its relevance in the corporate world. She was told time and again, don't do it on integral humanism, Deen Dayal Upadhyay's ideology, you will not get a job later on. So for all the young people who are sitting here, I just want to request, if you are a writer, if you want to write, we should have a lot of literature on our kind of thinking. So Neena ji.
Okay, so for the question that you asked, if Raja Dashrath had enemies, and I mentioned this in my book, and it is mentioned on page 45. So in the Valmiki Ramayana Balakand 1:6-27, stroke 27, Valmiki says, Tam Purinsa Mahateja, Raja Dashratho Mahan, Shashas Shamitaha Amitro, Nakshatrani va Chandramaha. So what does this mean? Tam Purim means that city, and that city is which city? That city is Ayodhya. Mahateja Raja Dashratho. Mahatej Wala king, that king, glorious king, that great king. He ruled over his enemies like the moon rules over the nakshatras at night. So the literal translation is, the great, resplendent and admirable king Dashrath resided. He ruled the world from that city with silenced enemies. The word Shamitaha Amitra means silenced, appeased, allayed, destroyed and vanquished those who are not friends. So that means that Maharaja Dashrath was destroying enemies regularly and repeatedly, and because of this too, he had an Ashwamini Sena. Now this Ashwamedhi Sena, I don't know how many of you know, but I'm going to ask you a question. How many Ashwamedhi Senas fought in the Mahabharata? Anybody, any idea? Yes. Yes, correct. Wonderful. So there were 18 Ashwamedhi Senas who fought for 18 days and all of them were destroyed. So Maharaja Dashrath is the ruler of one Ashwamedhi Sena. And this is mentioned there. And this is because they had enemies, they were attacked, and this is the reason why he designed Ayodhya in a manner that other people couldn't win. And so all the design, all of it, I have given it in my book, and my book is full of pictures, the whole layout of Ayodhya, the design, and everything is mentioned there, including the fact that Ayodhya used to be actually, the homes of Ayodhya used to be gold-plated. We've always heard that it was, Lanka was Sonik Lanka, or that Lanka had golden houses. But you'd be surprised to know, I think that the person who propagated that only read the Sundarkand, and had he read the Valmiki Ramayana, the Balakand, he would have known that even in Ayodhya, the homes were gold-plated. They used to gold-plate their homes. And another shocking thing I'm going to tell you, ancient cultures across the world used to have a lot of gold plating. So I traveled to the ancient Incan civilization, which is Peru, and therein they used to have silver plates and gold plates out of their houses. So they used to decorate them with gold and silver. Now I also went to Egypt. In Egypt again, the internal rooms and everything, in fact their coffins, everything was made of gold, and all their, for example, the Tutankhamun's grave that was recovered, that was full of gold. So in ancient cultures, they used to have this concept of gold plating their homes. And can anybody tell me where did this idea of gold plating come from? Why did they gold plate it? Any guesses? Any guesses? No? So there is a very, very interesting line in the Valmiki Ramayana. So in the Valmiki Ramayana it says that the houses are like the vimans of the gods. And since the vimans of the gods are gold-plated, therefore we also assume or we know that in ancient times all of them used to gold-plate their homes. And all of this is mentioned in my book as well. So one after the other, you're going to unravel deep mysteries of our ancient times, and also get a brief introduction of civilizations who practice similar things from across the world.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm getting signals from Shyamji to stop, but before we stop, any questions? It'd be a pleasure. Yes.
Yes.
See, basically, Ayodhya was also known by the name Saket, which is the oldest name, Saket or Ayodhya.
Ayodhya.
Okay, then how did the name Saket come? What is the meaning of the word Saket? You said Ayodhya means nobody can fight, right?
Yes. So Saket was a name that was given much later. I do not know the from where that name came out, because my expertise is on Ayodhya per se. So I can't really help you on that. But
Ram was also known as Saket Ram.
yes, Saket is a name that came later.
Ji.
Namaste, madam. What made you to choose the name of Amazing Ayodhya? You chose Divine Ayodhya or Ayodhya?
I did not want to call it Divine Ayodhya because I come from a military background. So my father is in the army, and when I read the description of Ayodhya and the Valmiki Ramayana, and of course I have been to New York, I have lived in Abu Dhabi, I have traveled everywhere. So everything that, all the ancient cultures that I came across, I thought that it was an amazing district or an amazing city. I did not think that there was so much divinity that was mentioned in the description of Ayodhya as much there was practicality mentioned. everything that you read about the description of Ayodhya of those times describes practical application of warfare, practical application of a good construction of a city, practical application of good design which enables a city to protect itself when there is an attack. So for example, you would wonder why there would be a moat. What is the importance of a moat? Can somebody tell me what is the importance of a moat around a fort or a stronghold? Anybody? No. So in ancient times and even today, we have 4 wings of the armies. In ancient times, we used to have 4 wings of the armies, and that is why the army used to be called the Chaturangi Sena. Chaturang, that which has 4 parts. Now, which are these 4 parts? So the first part, I'm just giving it right, there's no order per se. The first part is the infantry, the second is the cavalry, the third are the elephants, and then the fourth we have the chariots. These are the 4 basic parts. Now, whenever there is a fort which has a moat, the reason the moats were constructed is so that the 3 parts, the chariots, the elephants, and the horses, the cavalry, is not able to cross the moat and enter into the stronghold. Only the infantry could get in. But if it is a very crowded city, which Ayodhya was, there was no way an infantry could fight a war inside the city. So as a girl coming from an army background, my grandfather was in the army, my father is in the army, these are very basic applications of protecting oneself from attacks and wars, which was put in Ayodhya. In fact, the way the towers were structured were done so that they could fire at others. They could fire missiles at others, the way the towers were constructed. Then Maharaja Dasharatha had 2 yojans more of jungles right across the moat as well. Why did he do that? So whenever there is a jungle before a city, the attacking army's movement gets slow. Because the elephants, the chariots, they can't cross through the jungle as swiftly. So these were ways of stalling and these were ways of segregating. So in military strategy, if somebody is attacking you, one of the fastest ways to spoil an attacking army or to make them worthless is to separate them. And a moat would do exactly that. So when I was researching all of this, I understood what was being said. And I also, as an artist and a person who has a great interest in architecture, when I read the other details, I thought that this was a very practical city made in ancient times to protect itself. I did not find anything that had divine protection. And if it had divine protection, then where is it today? We lost it, right? So we have the habit of giving dignity where it doesn't belong. So for a very practical city, if we give it divine interpretation, which we shouldn't. So this is the reason I called it Amazing Ayodhya, because it is amazing. It is, if you read the kind of detail, the kind of military mind, and the kind of the thought process they had when they created it, it is absolutely amazing. Now I'll tell you another amazing thing now that you asked me. So in ancient times, you did not, today we have those star roads, right? So ducks doesn't fly. So they were so smart then, because there must be chariots and horses going, and if you go on a kacha road, which is like a mud road, the ducks is going to fly. Even like if it's a brick road, ducks flies. So in Ayodhya, they used to continuously keep the roads wet and sprinkled with petals, flower petals of flowers, so that there is no dust, and the instant there is a beautiful smell. And when you step on rose petals or when you step on flowers, instead of a sting, they always give out a beautiful smell. So these were just some of the amazing things I came across in the design of Ayodhya, in its greatness. And that is why I called it Amazing Ayodhya.
Because I thought that a lot of Sanskrit comparisons over there. So the better way would be rather than amazing to put some of the Sanskrit word. That's the reason. Okay, thanks.
So the Hindi version will come out, so I call the Hindi version, taking the tip from you, I call it Adbhut Ayodhya.
That's very. So thank you very much for being such wonderful audience. It was lovely having a session here. Thank you.
Just 1 second.
There is one more, yeah, tell me.
See, so comparison in the Ayodhya with Ramayana and Mahabharata, as my brother also said about this Chaturdashi Ekadasi. I mean,
Narak Chaturdashi.
in Mahabharata, when Devaki is being imprisoned by Kamsa, she asks her son Krishna, why is this suffering for me here? You are being my son. Why should I suffer? For this, Krishna says, please look back at previous births. She says, I don't have any clue about this. You were the Kaikeyi in the Ramayana. You made my father to suffer like this. Although I'm your son, now in this birth, he is replicated now.
Oh.
There is no proof for that in Bhagavatam. You are holding, there is no proof for that.
Chalo.
Okay, there is one last question. Yes.
So many sessions.
I want to make a small announcement. I want to make a small announcement to the public. You said the ecosystem is not supporting the Indic cases in history. My personal friend and chairman of the Department of History, Punjab University, whom you have also met, Bharat has also met, he is encouraging only his students to take up issues on Indic cases.
Bilkul sir. Excellent sir. Excellent.
I want to make this announcement.
So actually, for the time we have been constrained, this is just a trickling, and I'm sure there's more to come. So thank you everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for the lovely questions.
Thank you, Mrs. Vijita, for elucidating on the topics of Swabhasha, Swarajya, Swadeshi, and Swadharma. Thank you, Ms. Neena, for sharing the journey behind your book and for giving us deep insights on Ayodhya. Now, Mr. Jay Mohan, CEO of Strategic Ventures, will